Hey, hey, everybody. Welcome to Wednesday, July 20th. It's a good one. It's a hot one out here in Arizona. And something tells me that when y'all start sharing where you're watching from, what the weather's like, and who you are, we're going to hear some other folks around the country experiencing some hot too. And then, of course, there's going to be those who are kind of maybe have their heads elevated like the giraffe, like, nah, it's beautiful here where I'm at. It's beautiful here where I'm at. You know what? It probably is, and I wish I was there. Me and Steve are here in Arizona. Steve's in Queen Valley, and I'm out here in Chandler. And every Wednesday we get together to talk mules and donkeys. This week is no exception. Steve, how have you been since the last week?
Well, I've actually this morning I painted my rehab truck. It's a big utility truck, Chevy, and I haven't painted in about let's see, I don't know, over 25 years. And I painted that truck and then Command's truck. So the rehab truck, I'll be sending some pictures, but I got it all painted up this morning, and we painted it white and it looks really good. And then all the team from the fire department there at Queen Valley, I had about six firefighters helping me out, and we got it all sanded down, masked, and painted. And yep, that's another thing that I've done in my lifetime, folks. The auto body collision business. How about that?
Well, I was about to say that Steve's one of these guys that you think you know him, you think he's the mule guy, and all of a sudden you find out he's got enough life for about three different people there. He's got three different lives that he's run, and every single one of them blessed by the Lord, right, Steve?
Amen on that one. Well, that's a good one. You bet.
That's very good.
You bet.
So, like I said, we get together here every single week, and today we're going to do the same thing we did last week, and the same thing we're going to do next week. Talk about mules and donkeys. It's a free clinic. It's a free Q&A. This is where you come to get your questions answered, so that you can go out, gain the trust of your animals, get results. We love the F word here, and that F word is free. We are claiming it back. We are redeeming the F word, and we are making it the most wonderful word that you've got in your vocabulary, and that is free. We do these every single week free, and I can't begin to tell you the amount of people who send messages in letting us know that they've been able to go out and just experience the joy of owning these animals, of riding, of packing, of driving, just by making simple tweaks that they've learned here, that they've read online from the Mule Ranch website. So we just keep doing it. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy it, and we know that y'all enjoy it too, or else you wouldn't keep showing up. So excited to have you here. There's really only three things we ask. Number one, that you let us know that you're here. Put your name in the comment section, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. We'd love to say hello. If you're watching on a replay, which all the replay is you're just not here live on Wednesday, July 20th at 3 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. That's what the replay is. Anytime after that. So if you're watching on the replay, go ahead and say hello. We check the comment sections on YouTube and on Facebook, and so you can go in, you can ask your question. We'll get to it in a future week. The second thing that we ask is that you do just ask that. Ask any and every question that you've got about mules and donkeys. This show is 100% guided by you. I have a few that are prepped ahead of time, but I haven't prepped Steve. So everything's on the fly. There's no question that's off limits. There's nothing that we shy away from. You could come say, hey, Steve, everything I bought from you is a bunch of hogwash. It doesn't work the way that it was supposed to, and we're not going to back down from that. We're going to talk about it, and it's something that we do whenever it comes up, because chances are it's just a subtle little change that needs to happen with you, with the way things have been set up, or with your timing and your animal, and then you can get the results that you want. So we love this being the start of the conversation, not the end of the conversation. And then the third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast. It's really easy to do. On YouTube, the way that you do that is by clicking the like button. So go ahead, smash that like button as hard as you want to, or as soft as you want to. As long as it clicks, we're good with that. The second way that you do it is by subscribing to our channel. And then the third way is by that little share button on YouTube. You can click that and you can send an email to a friend or family member. You can post it on social network. All sorts of different ways you can share. On Facebook, it's really similar. Click the like button for this particular video, for this particular live stream, You can click the share button or just tag a friend or family member. We have a few folks who are in here right off the bat, so we will say hello to them. We've got Jackie watching from Placitas, New Mexico. It is 96 degrees here, and we are praying for more rain. You know what? We're in competition, but God is a big God. He can make rain happen everywhere. We're praying for rain out here too. We want it as much as we can get. Send that rain. We've got Daryl watching and Bobby Joe in Alabama, home with COVID, sunny and hot. Well, I'm so sorry that you've got the Rona. I've seen quite a few people saying I made it 2 years, didn't get it, and all of a sudden they came down with it. And so I hope that you stay safe. I hope that you got what you need to. And vitamin D, I've been told, works really, really well too. So maybe get some of that sun when it's not too hot out. Rusty is watching from Shreveport, Louisiana, where it's dry and hot. Freckles is watching from Minnesota, where it's hot and humid. Laura is watching from near Nashville, and it is really hot. I am headed to our donkey show at Bedford, Colorado Fair this Saturday, and it will be around 100 degrees. Equine, electrolytes, and Gatorade will be packed. That's right. Well, I'll tell you what, when you're used to 108 degrees, 100 degrees is a reprieve. So I would take 100 degrees anytime. Pat is watching from Plains, Texas, where it is hot and dry. And we're going to get into our first comment of the day. And really, it's just, I want to hear what your thoughts are on this, Steve. Now, Linda the Mule Servant and Theo the Sweet One-Eyed Mule are not here yet, but they will be soon. This week, we had someone show up on YouTube, one of our friends on YouTube named Debbie, and she was watching the idea of the ask, tell, and demand and playing the tune with the come-along rope. And she says, will this work for a one-eyed mule? So, Steve, I replied back and I said, you ought to hook up with, all right, let me know. Send me a message and I'll see if I can hook you up with Linda. But what would you say to someone who has a one-eyed mule, and what are the considerations that they maybe would want to think about as they're working with their animal?
Actually, I was talking with her just about an hour ago. And yes, folks, I call all of you, do I answer the phone? Nope. If I answered the phone, every time I answered it, I would not get anything done around here. And let me just give you an idea. Yesterday, I had a water line break. I had my electric gate not working. I had my wife needed help with some plumbing around the garden. And I had some stuff to do with the fire department. And I had some other odds and ends, little things that need to get caught up. So yeah, I keep busy. And yes, I do want to call you, and yes, I want to help you. Now, let's go back to the one-eyed mule. She was telling me when I go one way, the mule does really good. Then when the mule goes around the other way, and she's talking about she's in a round pen. When the mule goes the other way, it doesn't do so good. And I said, ma'am, that's the same thing whether it be one-eyed mule or whether it have both eyes. It happens that way. They have two brains. One on the right and one on the left. They do not have the cranial lobe, which tells the right side what the left side's doing or the left side what the right side's doing. Doesn't do that. Now, other thing you have to remember, folks, is what you're trying to pack in there into that brain. You're thinking that's a pretty good sized brain up there, I don't know if you've ever, anyway, I've seen them. And, you're talking two pieces of brain about like this, but there's no cranial lobe in the middle. So that one left side tells the right side what to do. They don't have that. But what there is, I get this, the information that's taken in is only as big as a walnut. Well, I bought a 15-year-old mule, so he'd be experienced. Oh, really? You got all that experience in that walnut? No, folks. Just because he's 15 years old, 12 years old, 3 years old doesn't mean he's going to retain it. And that also means that most likely he's been miscommunicated with, like this mule. Okay, mule's a little hard to catch. Yeah, has got white spots all up and down his back. Yeah, but not just sprinkled. This is deep, dark white spots. So somebody had an awful fitting saddle. Anyway, going on. This mule, even though it's blind, was basically in one eye, basically is doing the same things, identical to what any other mule would be doing with both eyes. Okay, remember that brain size? That brain size, walnut. Okay, now you can only pack so much information in there, so you got to pack the basics. Now, she had him in a round pen. I said, why'd you have him in a round pen? Well, I wanted to get to know him and this sort of thing. I said, no, that's not, folks, not the way you start with a mule or donkey. Putting them in a round pen and doing round pen work like we did horses is not the place to start with a mule. They see no advantage of going around in a circle, especially when I started asking the lady, all right, when you're going to the left, how do you stop him? I don't know. When you get him to start, I don't know. So I got lots of I don't knows. This is really important, folks. It's really important. We put them in round pens and we shouldn't. Now, if they're hard to catch, yes, but you better know what you're doing, because here's the thing. You approach the nose, then you're telling that nose to go away from you or come to you. Don't approach the nose. Always approach the shoulder. Neutral zone. There, they think you're safe. You know you're safe because it's the only place around that mule that is safe. Okay, and so you always approach the shoulder. Everybody approaches the head, and they put their hand out, saying, "Give me your Fluffy. Come on, Fluffy. Come on." No, don't do that. That's what everybody else does. So now this mule, this one-eyed mule, has learned all the tricks from Mr. Black, Mr. Brown, and Mr. Blue and Black. And yeah, anyway, you hear me? They've already learned those tricks, because this is why everybody does the same thing. They're in the same rut. So what do I told her to do? I said, get the ground communication kit. You all hear me talk about that. I don't care if you bought a super well-trained mule from this great auction and you watch this guy crack a whip and fall off and crawl between the legs and yada, yada, yada. Man, the thing must be trained. Well, there could be some training there. It could just be dog and pony tricks. But also remember, folks, after they've come that long trip, and a lot of people come to these high-end clinics or high-end auction places because they think they're going to get a well-trained mule. No, you're going to get entertained, for one thing, unless you know what to look for. Okay? Get that in your mind. They may be well-trained, but do you understand what training is? And that's really important, folks. Really important. You've heard me talk about the story of I would go to a clinic with my mules and I would show everybody this mule turned on the forehand, turned on the hindquarters, side pass, all within a 10-foot circle. This mule give me all 4 feet with just a light cue. This mule would load in a trailer. This mule, you got the idea? But I would say to the people, okay, who's been riding here 25 years? And hands fly up, person gets on. 15 minutes later, it looks like the mule is not trained. Yes, that's right. So here's the thing, folks. Don't fall for the dog and pony shows. You know, don't go to the high-end auction thinking you're going to get a well-trained mule. And one of the first things I hear from folks, Dave, is this. He's really a pretty mule. Well, pretty isn't always what it pretty should do. You know, here's the thing, folks. When it comes to training, you know, that training is there, but do you know how to do it? There you are, Dave.
Awesome. Very good. Hopping back over to Facebook and YouTube, we've got Judy watching from Euclid, Michigan, 85 degrees. So we're loving that for you, Judy. Or, yeah, Judy, that's awesome. After a storm passed through, blessing us with half an inch of rain. So now she's just showing off.
Oh, man.
Let's see. Barbara is watching from Missouri, where it's hot and steamy. Thanks for all you do. Rusty says, having never owned an equine animal, would you suggest diving in head first with a mule or dip my toes in with a horse or a donkey?
I would say dive in head first with education. Yes. Go on and read the books, watch the videos, see what makes sense to you. Get an idea of what a side pass is. get an idea of what a mule eats, get an idea of to shoe them or not to shoe them. Got the idea? In other words, educate yourself. Don't go just dive in and buy it, folks. I can't tell you how many people have put the cart before the horse, but in this case, the mule, and they're in trouble now. They're in trouble, So fortunately, I can help them out with a few little things. But here's the thing, Dave, which we're going to show in some of these videos. Folks, don't take these mules to trainers. Don't. Well, I'm worried I'm going to make a mistake. Yeah, so did the trainer. Well, I'm worried I won't do the wrong thing. Well, so did the trainer. That most of these trainers, folks, when you get them back from the trainer, most people are having mega problems. Mega problems. Yes. Why? Because for one thing, trainers got to train you. Number one thing. The second thing, most of this training is done is horse training, not mule and donkey training.
Right on. Okay, let's see here. Next is Bobby says, "Hey y'all, Carol from St. James, Missouri. We're melting here, 103 and awful humid. You know what? Y'all ought to get Shoot, I just had it in my head what I was going to say. I was going to crack a joke. All right, if it's a good joke, it'll come back to me. Myra's watching. Greetings, Steve and Dave. Glad to be here with you today. It's really hot here in Southern California, probably like what you've got there too. Yes, absolutely. Scott is watching from South Carolina, 90 and humid. Miss Backwoods says that's our whole situation, diving head first. We've been watching videos and these live streams been very helpful. Northern Maine here. Good to have you here, Miss Backwoods. Rusty says, education is why I'm here. Thanks, Steve. Next question comes in from Nancy. She says, I've worked and owned horses for 50 years. My last two died 1.5 years ago, and now I'd like to work with a mule. I've been listening to the broadcast and watching videos for over a year now. I bought your building a foundation starter kit with come-along rope, video, etc. I made an inquiry on a mule that I saw on Lancaster Farming Paper. We live in Lancaster, Pennsylvania area. The ad read, yearling quarter horse black Molly mule, very calm and easy to handle, 1,000. The owner said he bought her thinking she would grow big enough to work in the fields, but now he is doubtful and wants to sell her. He said she is 1.5 years old and 12 hands. She was over 2 hours away from me, and because of other commitments, I could not go see her. I wanted to ask you questions and get your advice first anyways. 1, will she get any bigger if she's 12 hands at 1.5 years old? I'm in the market for a mini that's 13 to 14 hands high. Do I look for the same things in a young mule that you have advised us to look for in an older animal? Go ahead and pour on me all that you think I should know about. All I should think about and look for this young mule, or shouldn't I even be thinking about one? I'm not wanting to get her in the saddle in a hurry, just want to build a relationship. I appreciate your time you invested in sharing your experience and knowledge with us so we have the opportunity to do it right and enjoy the animal. Also, thank you for sharing Jesus Christ openly in the broadcast. A sister in Christ, Nancy. What would you have to say there to our sister Nancy?
Well, here goes, folks. Getting a yearling is really not a bad idea. It's really a good idea. You can run into almost identical same problems as you can with a 1.5 year old as you can with a 5-year-old. You can, except for the problem is most of the time these 5-year-olds have already been messed with and they've got some baggage. The 1.5 year old, you got way less baggage that you can deal with, So how do we know how big it is? So the best way to do it is to take a string and measure from the center of the knee and let it come down to the center of the top of the cannon of the pastern. Okay, so you're going to measure the two of those together. All right, and when you measure that, that'll give you an idea. So let's just say it says 12 inches. You're probably going to have a 12-hand high mule. It says 15 hands, 15 could very well be a 15-hand mule. That's the only downside, folks. Only downside of buying a young mule is, you don't know how big they're going to be. Okay. I can tell you that my little Jack was just a little guy of about 13 hands roughly. And I bred all sizes of horses, and it didn't make any difference if it was a 16-hand horse. I still seen a 14-2 mule. So it's always a shot. So do that. Second part is, yes, disposition, disposition, disposition. Does this mule like you? Does this mule want to spend time with you? And that's the downside, folks, of you buying at some of these auctions, or if you're buying online, things like this. You really want to smell them and touch them. You really want to see if they'll get along with you. Now, you get some mules like Stacy, Dave, and Stacy, which she just loved everybody. Very few people I can think of. And Stacy's my wife's little mule. She just, she'd do everything for anybody, and she always tried until you got to pulling on her too hard, then she didn't like that. But anyway, folks, when it comes down to these animals, it's get your education, and I'll be happy to help you out.
Trisha is watching from Wasilla, Alaska, 61 degrees and cloudy. Hey, that sounds nice. I'd take that. Tony's watching from Port Angeles. Freckles says, how long do you use your saddle pads? Mine that I purchased from you is 2 years old and it's cracking down the middle. Am I doing something wrong?
Well, that's a possibility. It could be that if you're laying it out like this, then yes, you could be getting some cracking. But send me a picture, because, hey, I don't want you to have a product that's not worthy of my name, and my name's on that pad. So send me a picture and your name and this sort of thing. I'll look it up, and if it's a problem with us, be happy to do it. So here's the thing with my pads, folks. Number one, don't hose them down to clean them up. You don't have to. You can take a little Windex, spray it, and wipe it off. If you got a little extra hair, wait till it dries and then wipe it off clean. If you open it up upside down and it opens up like that, yes, you've got an opportunity to probably crack that perforated neoprene. There's a possibility. But send me a picture, and if I need to warranty it, I'll get her done, because I want you happy.
Awesome. Next question. This one came in from Cindy. Says, we're located in rural Ozark Mountains, northern Arkansas. Purchased a 10-year-old Molly mule, and she is great to work with. She always comes to me in pasture. Haltering her is no problem. She's great on the trail so far, but, so this is what we call a butt mule. So I'm not saying necessarily you, Cindy, but this is what we hear. Butt mule. All this good stuff, but, and so that's why we want you to come here before you purchase, so that you don't have yourself a butt mule. At least you know what type of a butt mule you're about to get. But I must say, once I put your saddle on, I could almost her say, she loved it from, she loved it from the get-go. Okay, so this is a good butt mule. I have lost my farrier, and now I'm trimming her, and her near future will be shoeing myself. Norma Jean's feet were not easy to lift. Worked with her and was able to trim both front and back eventually. I did use the come along, and she responded okay. I am concerned. She no longer comes to me in the pasture and is a wee bit shy now of the halter. I'm following your suggestions, training only 3, 6, 9. Please tell me I did not mess her up too badly. Tomorrow is day 6. Thank you for your help in the videos and for one heck of a great saddle. Should add that the britchin and breast collar are working well also. So this is a good butt mule. All of a sudden, got all these things going, and then the saddle goes on, and but she's concerned that with this shoeing and trimming, she's damaged the relationship and the trust. What would you say, Steve?
You didn't. It's not a matter of losing the trust. It's a matter of get her out of the pasture. That mule don't need to be in a pasture. Have you heard some of our other videos, some of the things where people said they had a great mule, it turned out to be a butt mule? Yeah, they don't need to be out in the pasture, folks. They don't need you. They got food, they got water, and if they got other equine, hey, party's on. They don't need you. Keep them in a small pen, especially if you're training. You keep them in a 20 by 20 stall, and you keep them that way. Oh, but Steve, It's real small stalls, 20 by 20. Listen, my wife's mule, she passed away at 28 years old. We had her for 26 years. Guess what? Yep. She spent 26 years in a 20 by 20 stall. Did she go out and we went riding? Yes. Did we go drive her in a wagon? Yes. Did I use her to train on other mules? Yes. But that was her stall. Folks, when they get out there like that, they don't need you. Why should they come to you? Okay? That's where the Democrat in them comes in. I should have said that anyway. They don't want to go to work. They got all the stuff handed out to them. They don't need you. Put them in a small pen. Leave them there. They don't need to be out in a smorgasbord. Number one, they don't need to be out there because they can overgraze and get grass founder. Number one, that is the health problem. Okay. Number two, they get to where why should they come in? They got all the freebies out there. Why should they come in? Yeah. You've got to build a relationship, and folks, you can't do it. Turn them out of pasture. Here's the next thing. Health again. It's important you understand that when you have them in a 20 by 20 stall, you can see their road droppings. You can see how much water they're drinking. You can see how much quality food they're getting. You can't do it out there. Folks, you have to keep track of the feeding of your mules and donkeys. It is imperative. I had a lady call me a day I talked to. She wanted so bad to make sure she's feeding her mule just right, especially on a maintenance feed, just to maintain them, okay? Yes, you are the one that's taking care of this mule who is wanting to be your friend, who you want to go enjoy the outdoors with, okay? So take care of him, okay? Otherwise, folks, here's the worst part about it. It's going to be an attitude. You can't turn them out in the pasture, folks, and them not come up with an attitude.
Very good. Let's hang back over on Facebook and let's see, in YouTube. Hey, Steve and Dave from Lowood, Queensland, Australia. Rain due here for the next few days. We have gone international. Thank you so much, Trace. Mark is watching from Virginia, where it's 83. Tamara is watching from Casino, southwestern Australia. Overcast and rainy here. Gone international again. Indiana, where Candy is watching. It's hot and humid. Ashley says, hey guys, love your show. Minnesota is windy and warm. It's good to have you guys here. Hopping back over to our email, Virginia sent in a message. Hey Steve, it's coming up on 6 months since I've been diligently using your training methods, and my admiration for your work just simply grows and grows. I can't help but smile when it occurs to me that your recommended 6-month period is much of a ground foundation for me as it is for Edie. The work is teaching me so much about patience, persistence, and focus. It's graduate school equine training. I like that. Obviously, Edie is a different animal now than when she arrived in New Mexico in January. I use the come-along hitch exclusively, and the rope halter is getting dusty hanging on the wall. But now that Edie and I are building trust relationships, she's starting to test me again. She's developing a bulking problem. She will be walking very beautifully behind me with her head down while we walk around the ranch. But as we head for home, she will stop next to the other paddocks with the horses in them and refuse to budge. I adjust the come-along rope and bump her continuously, even have to change hands until I'm exhausted. No good. She just stands there patiently. I have tapped her sharply with a crop, and that worked for a while, but no longer. Today, the idea came to me that if she didn't want to move, maybe we'll just start working on her exercises in a 10-foot circle, starting with throwing the rope over her and turning her on the hindquarters each way several times. It worked. Yes. I think she realized that it would be more comfortable to walk home for some breakfast than to train some more. But will that technique last? What do you think? Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, we need to get Virginia on here to teach some classes.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Okay, get the picture. She sees the other animals. She wants to spend time with the other equine. Now, if she does it here with you on the ground in a familiar place, guess what? When you're out on a trail and one equine's going back toward the trailer and you want to go away from the trailer, guess what they want to do? Turn around and go with the other equine. Yes. Yeah, they want to spend time with other brothers and sisters there. Yes, they do. Yeah. It's normal to want to spend time with other equine. And you did perfect. Okay, let's do some foundation training. Okay, let's back up. Let's go in some circles. Don't go in circles in a trail, folks. This is foundation training, building relationship. Now, I'm out on a trail. I'm going to go right, left with my bridle. I'm going to use my mule rider's martingale, and I'm going to make it uncomfortable. And you're doing right. You're doing right. Make that place uncomfortable. You can get her to back up. You can make her go to the left, make her go to the right, go around in some circles. You can take her straight ahead. Yes, all those things. You are an awesome trainer. Congratulations.
Awesome. Very good. Next question. This one came over on YouTube. Someone was watching one of our replays. Says, hi, I have 2 pony mules, 44 and 43 inches. My question is a driving question. On the traces, my mule came with harnesses, and the traces are so heavy the chains are 1/4 inch by 2 inch. Can I go to a smaller chain that does not weigh so much?
You want to be careful with that because these chains are heavy enough to take the amount of weight to pull them ahead. Okay. And I can tell you this, folks, now understand, folks, what a trace is. It's a strap that goes from the hame down the side and then attaches to the double tree on the wagon, which then they can pull the wagon. And we use chains with the chain links to be able to put it and adjust it. So what I usually do is I take the chain, that the length that goes on there, and when I go to put it up or go to hook it onto my hook, I take one chain link and put it on the other. Okay, so I take one chain link and put it on the other like this, and then I hook it up right here. Okay, I know it's kind of hard to tell, but no, don't go smaller. You'll end up breaking the chain. There's a good possibility. You can also send me a picture, but most likely I would just stick with what you got. And that size of, we call it tug chains. But just stick with it.
Next question. This also came in from a viewer on YouTube watching a replay. I have a mule that was gifted to me by my daughter. A nurse she works with got him from a kill shelter. Now, he does not like to be approached. He will not let me catch him. The only way I can touch him is when he comes to me for a treat. Then I can rub his face. When I go to him, he goes away. Can't do anything to him at all. What can I do to tame him and be able to catch him? I think he's been abused. He is not a mean mule. He is just scared. Any recommendations will be much appreciated. This one came from Paula. Steve, what would you say?
Here's abuse, folks. Abuse is going to the mule's nose rather than going to the shoulder. Abuse is taking and putting him in a round pen and making them run until they can't hardly run no more, But the biggest thing is, folks, we approach the mule to the shoulder, not the hip, not the head. Now, the reason they get that way and you think they've been abused is because people are using the same techniques over and over again. And therefore, now the mule learns that, hey, I can get a treat. I don't have to go to work. I can get a treat and I don't have to do what you want me to do. Okay, now let's fix that. You got the treat. He takes the treat. Don't touch the face. Nothing from the shoulder forward gets touched. Go to the shoulder and pet the shoulder. Now, you're heading toward the shoulder. Touch the mule on the shoulder, and the mule takes off. You hoot and holler and yell. Now, you got to be in a small pen or be in a 50-foot round pen or about a 20 by 20 stall if you have to. Because I know a lot of you approach them in the corral, and that's okay. But here's the thing. They have to understand that they're going to move their feet when you want them to. When they take off, immediately, yeah, get out of here, yeah. and make them run around. They're going to be scared, and they're going to be running into the corral, and you're going to think, oh my, but don't worry about it. You've got to do this, because this mule said, all right, I learned from 25 other people that I get a cookie and then leave. And nobody's done anything. All right? When they got it, get this in your mind. When they split second, try to catch it before they go. If they already go, it's too late. Try to get your timing. When the nose goes, so goes the mule. When the ear flips, so goes the mule. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do? As soon as the mule you're handing out for a treat, which I don't like treats, I don't mind a treat in this case, as long as it's done correctly. And here's what you got to do. When you give the treat, open-handed, and you go toward the mule. So they have to drop their head and come back to get the treat. Now, I don't mind giving a treat in order to build a relationship with this, but here's the thing. Get back to it. As soon, the split second, the mule goes to leave, make him run. This is where the round pin would work good. There's where you're going to make him run, okay? You don't want to be caught. Then I'm afraid your lungs and your heart is going to be pounding. Got the idea? But you have to watch now. As they're going around the pen, when are they looking at you? When are they looking at you? When they look at you, step back. Here's one of the downsides, folks, of how this mule has learned to get around you. Remember, they look at your body posture. So when you look down to see where you're stepping most of the time, and you look back up, what you just did was you just asked permission to come into that mule's herd. What I mean by that is, if a new mule wants to come into a herd, they have to drop their head, lick their lips, and ask for permission to come in. And when you drop your head, that's abuse as far as I'm concerned. Yep, that's simple, because it teaches the mule that you want to be the herd of this herd of one. So there you are. Get that in your mind. Best thing to do is get that come along rope, get that come along kit, and use that ground communication kit. Folks, round pinning don't do a lot of good. The come along hitch will fix your problems, and you need to use it.
Next question. This one comes from Catherine. She says, how can I train my donkeys to walk one behind the other so that I can lead the lead donkey with the other one tied behind me? I have to walk them a couple of miles along narrow tracks. I have a pack saddle. Can I use this to tie to the second donkey to? If so, how do you tie them safely? Thanks. So is this what we would consider ponying, Steve?
Well, actually, no, when you're tying one in behind the other, so you tie your first donkey, then your second donkey, and your third donkey, and fourth donkey. And what you do is you take 1/4-inch cord and you tie to the rear D-rings of the pack saddle, and you're using a sawbuck saddle. And when you've got the ring on each side with the string tied, and the string, first of all, is tied to a ring. So you tie it with a ring with about 2 foot of rope on both sides. That rope goes down and goes into the D-rings of your saddle, right and left. Then it comes between the sawbuck. Here's the sawbuck here. It comes underneath here and comes up underneath the back and goes to the croup of the tail. That's where that ring goes. So that ring tied to strings will go to the croup of the tail. Okay. And then you tie your other donkey, to it with a quick release. Okay. Now let's go back. I showed you what the advance is going to look like. Here's the thing. Get your come along rope, get your ground communication kit, and start there. Make sure your donkey is well trained and well versed and doesn't stop Because here's the thing, your back donkey needs to be your most well-trained, halter-trained donkey. He is called the whip donkey. Now, if you have 5, okay, you have your lead donkey, which is the one I'm training on. And then you have your swing donkeys, which I'm training on this one, and this one, and this one's learning more. And this back donkey or mule, okay, he is the most well-trained, has the most experience right there. He's the one that has to not pull back. He's the one that has to not jump creeks. He's the one that's well-trained. It's called the whip donkey. So you have your whip donkey, you have your swing donkeys, and you have your lead. The lead is the one you're training. Now, do your ground communication first. Teach the donkey how to be trained with the come-along rope. Then you can hook them together. Don't hook them together, folks. Don't do that until they are both well halter trained. Okay? In other words, don't get your pack saddle before the halter foundation.
All right, next question. Actually, Larry is watching. 83 degrees with a slight breeze. Larry, Ryan, and Rose from Franklin County, Virginia. Thanks for all you do. Thank you, Larry. Susan Callahan is here. Hi, Steve. Got a new mule coming Sunday. Local family trying to find him a home, and they aren't mule folks. 16 years old, lots of packing experience, some riding experience. I'm only taking him in hopes to find him a good home. I will probably have lots of questions for you next week when I start discovering all the holes in his training. Groundwork first, right, Steve? Any advice for an unknown mule?
Yeah, folks, you can't do enough groundwork. Don't bring your mule home and say, oh, by golly, here we go. No, don't do that. Put them in a pen by themselves. Don't put them out in the pasture. Don't put them with other animals. Now, it's okay. It's okay to have the corrals all next to each other. You don't have to put your new mule a half a mile away. You don't have to do that. It's okay to have them next to each other. I don't want them feeding together. I don't want them walking together. I don't want them drinking together. That's one of the problems with the pasture. Now, hey, Susan Callahan, by the way, she's retired police department sheriff up in the Kingman area. Great gal. I met her several years ago in Camp Verde, her and her mom. And hey, how's your mom doing, by the way, Sue? Anyway, she's a good mule gal. She was riding a saddle that was mediocre by any strength of the word. Anyway, she's doing good. So groundwork, folks, you cannot do enough groundwork. Yet it's the rest of your life. You're going to fix problems and you're going to build good foundations with the come-along rope.
So how many times do you have to brush your teeth before your teeth have been brushed good enough and you don't have to do it again?
After every meal.
After every meal. So after every day, there's something to train on. You're always going to brush those teeth. You're always going to train those mules. A little bit of trying to make it work wisdom from Dave. Mike sent a message in from Facebook wondering if you've ever dealt with a problem called sweet itch, a reaction to gnat bites. Our mule moved from southern U.S. to Wisconsin. We got him in early March. We know he went from his home to a broker to a couple we got him from to our house over 4 months. That's a lot. He didn't seem to be losing his winter coat. Then as he finally started, we thought he had rain rot in a few patches that eventually spread across his shoulders to his neck and face. Treated big time, and every time we thought we were making progress, it would come back. Vet came out and said it's not rain rot, maybe some allergic reaction. Put him on Dex and antibiotics. That seems to be helping. Just wonder if you've dealt with it and had any advice.
Oh yeah, I've dealt with it, and Dex is a great way to treat something like that. Matter of fact, I use Dex. This dexamethasone is what it is. And I use Dex when I have a rattlesnake bite. If I get one of my dogs or one of my livestock has a rattlesnake bite, Dex is a great tool for that. So let's go back. We have a lady who has some great products, and it's really great for things like this here. Yes, the mule is allergic to the flies or maybe even gnats, who knows, all of the above. Usually it's on the chest, along the legs, especially on donkeys. But she's got a lot of natural, this lady, and you'll remember the name, Dave. I never can remember the name. It's almost
Espana silk.
Espana silk, yeah. I was going to say it's almost like Spanish, but Espana silk. She has wonderful products that's all natural. And I tell you what, this Espana silk, the stuff for the fly bites and gnats and this sort of thing, she's got several products that'll work on that. Let me tell you, it does work. And I'll tell you what I've used in the past, folks. Get this. I've rubbed WD-40 in. Yes, because it's an oil base and they don't like the oil. And believe it or not, it took care of the dryness of the skin and fixed the problem. But this is Spanish silk. This gal has some great products. I use them on my border collie puppy, but because I don't have any mules anymore. But it's a great product for that. Be sure to use it and tell her I said I sent you.
Awesome. Let's see here. Jerry is watching from Indiana. Always enjoy the program. Hot and humid here. Hopefully we make it a little bit cooler, just how cool Steve Edwards is. Misty is watching from hot and sunny Tennessee. David Pengelly, Mr. Coffee himself, is here. Go get yourself some Come Along Coffee, muleranch.com. Susan says Mom is doing great. Thanks, Steve. David O'Brien is watching from East Texas, 104 and scorching. Great to see you. Steve, we had some stuff come in from Lane. You want to go ahead and share what we had come in from Lane?
Oh, Lane, yeah, this guy's great. Folks, he'll tell you that his wife is the horseman, the mule person, and this sort of thing. Lane, when I first met him about a year ago, was just telling me how much he didn't know, and he was like a sponge, a clean slate, and he wanted to learn. But look, folks, remember I've been telling you, do this training yourself. Do it yourself. Don't go buying a mule thinking, I got a well-trained mule. You'll end up like so many other folks with having so many other problems, and you spent the big bucks and kaboom. Look at this picture of Lane here, and you'll see this right here. This is the mule he's training, okay? You see he's got the martingale on, got my saddle, breech and breast collar and stuff. But look, do you see the mule? Listen to this. Do you see the mule tied up? No. Notice the come along. You see it in behind the neck here, and that sort of thing. Notice that. Yes. Also the halter's on there too, but notice the come along rope. Folks, the idea of the come along rope is to build a foundation. Now look, there's the mule standing nice and quiet. He trained this mule himself from a baby. Now can we see the running picture or the moving picture or not? Okay, there he is. This is first ride, folks. Lane is doing this himself. First ride. Notice first thing, helmet. Notice the next thing, he's using the mule rider's martingale. Yes, sirree. Teaching the mule to go to the right and to the left. He said, Steve, everything I know is what I learned from you. And there you are, folks. Okay, there you are. This man is probably about my age. I'm not sure the age, but he's no 50-year-old kid. Let's just say that. Look, he's training himself. Notice he's doing it himself. What else?
Awesome. I got a question here from Ken. Ken's just asking, says, I must admit, a little embarrassed. Are the bends in the cheek bars for the trail rider bit, do they bend bars forward or back and bend in the mouth towards the front or back of the mouth? I don't know how to answer that, and I told Ken, hey, no embarrassment at all, because you asked the question, there's other people wanting to know. So how is it meant to move, Steve?
Okay, so if you notice when I send a bit out, I put a curb chain on it so that the curb chain is in the back. And the cue for that. I lost you there. Let me get you back here.
We're still
Um,
here. I don't know if
there we
can you
go.
still see me? Okay.
I had a phone call come in with potential spam. Anyway, I don't have a bit on me, but when I sent you the bit, it has the curb chains in the back. So the shanks on the side are going to point toward the back. So it's got an S and it points toward the back. If the S goes the opposite way, it's incorrect. And you will see the curve of the bit. You'll see the port, and then the part that sets on the bars of the mouth on each side, it'll be curved like this. If it's curved the other way, you've got it backwards. So it needs to be curved toward the mouth. Curved toward the mouth, okay? If you want to send me a picture with your mule there, or just a picture of the bridle with the bit on it, I'll be happy to help you out.
Next question comes from Paula. Says, so glad I found your channel. I'm from South Carolina, hot and humid. I fished with my dad. I caught a 25-pound channel bass out of the ocean. I love fishing. So that was a couple weeks ago when we asked people to share their biggest catch. She says, my mule was given to me. He was saved from a kill shelter. I cannot touch him or catch him. He apparently has been abused. Any advice will be appreciated. Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier. Oh, you know what? She made multiple comments, and I missed the first one. So Paula, we got to you twice today, so we're good there. Okay, let's see here. I got a question from Vic. He was watching your video on how to approach a mule. We had that couple that came out to the ranch all those years ago and taught him about approaching. Do you also train the handler? Mules, as you know, feel vibes from handlers like scared, meanness, kindness. You get the idea. Is it important or is it not?
No, it's not important. They're gonna feel your fear, and they're gonna feel your happiness. They can smell it. They know. And it's not unusual. You're talking about a predator and a prey animal. They're just as much worried about you as you are of them. Okay. But I would say to you, just relax. Use the come along rope. Folks, the come along rope is not just for the mule. The come along rope is to teach your timing as you move your hands. Your timing communicates to the mule's nose. Your timing comes through the lead rope. Use the ground communication. You heard one lady say earlier, 6 months. Yes, it's cheaper than 6 months in a hospital, or it's cheaper than 6 hours in ER. Yes, folks, enjoy these mules. Kick back, relax, enjoy them. Okay, do small things. Don't just expect I want to go riding, I want to go driving. No. Build a foundation of trust to get there. Then you're doing good.
All right, so we've got some pictures of some teeth here, Steve, and they're not mine, they're not yours. So folks can just, relax.
Stevies?
They're not Stevie's either. No, although Isaac, my 8-year-old, lost another tooth, and I had the weird. I'm not going to do it, but I put all of his teeth. We keep a little baggie, so I don't know. And so they got him in there, and I pulled them out on my palm, and they all lined up like they were teeth like this, and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. Just teeth hanging out there looking like a smile. It was weird looking. You sent me, so I think one of your clients sent this as, tell us what we're about to look at.
You bet. Okay, this is the tooth of a 3-year-old. Yes, folks, they do drop their teeth just like you and I did when we were babies, okay? But what I want you to see is the points on his tooth, okay? There are points on the tooth. This is the reason you have to float the teeth, because when you file down the points, that's what allows the mule to safely grind its feed. Remember, it doesn't chew its feed, it grinds. And these teeth, you'll see what I'm talking about. Here are these points. You got it there, Dave? There we go. Y'all see those? Yep, that's 3-year-old's teeth. Look at the points. Now understand now that it's not all the jagged places that you see, but it is something to do with it, especially the one on the left-hand side. You see the point sticking up? The idea, folks, is as they grind their food, as they open and close and chew, it grinds. And those teeth do this. And these points get to be sticking up. And what we have to do is file these points off so all the tooth looks like this and not like this. All right. So you can see the tooth there. That's what the teeth look like, folks. Yep. And I really appreciate Scott sending this so that we can get a look at it. But his 3-year-old, which you all have seen on the video here, on the show here a couple times with a come along rope and surcingle and this sort of thing.
All right, and then we had another video come through that was pretty cool. This one's from Lauren, and should I just throw it up there, Steve?
Yeah, let's take a look.
How about that?
Yep. Lauren, she is quite the rider, this gal. Notice, folks, she has 2 of my saddles. Notice they're 2 different size mules. The one on the left-hand side is a Belgian mule, and the right-hand side is a saddle mule. And notice she went to the gas station over here to make a fun. She'd rather ride the mule than drive a car. Yes, she would. But Lauren is quite the rider. Man, she's a rider. She sent me quite a few different things showing what she's capable of doing. But look here, folks. 2 different mules riding my britchem, my breast collar, saddles, and all. And look at her standing on top of the mules. Now, normally, folks, I tell you, forget about the dog and pony shows. All right. I mean, this kid here, she's a very good rider. She's not trying to sell the mules. She's just trying to again, enjoy them. She has the athletic ability to really enjoy them this way too. So there you are. But I want you to see 2 different size mules, same saddle.
All right, and we got one more here. This one's pretty cool. Say what we got here.
Another one of my clients. Now, notice the come along rope. Notice the mule standing there and the rope on the ground. Yes. Okay. Now, does she realize? She asked me, how about some adjustments? Yes, we made some adjustments on the britchem, and she talked about the saddle pad. It's a wool saddle pad, and it will slide forward, and her cinches are too far apart. And so she's bringing those together. But this is what I always tell you, folks. I always tell you, when you get your mule saddled, send me a picture. Let me help you. I'll show you how to adjust it. I'll explain to you about your britching. I'll explain to you about your cinches. And the same thing here. I just simply told her that her cinches were too far apart, that we need to adjust the quarter strap, and that her square-skirted saddle pad is going to inhibit the shoulder and the hip. And you notice the saddle setting nice and straight. That's a nice, very nice mule.
All right, Steve. We got a couple more folks who have joined us here. Ethel is watching. Eric and Ethel from Nashville, Indiana. Just got our tack today. Everything looks great. Looking forward to using it. 90 degrees and humid. And Ethel, Eric, you're going to have to stay on top of her. Make sure she sends pictures once she gets everything tacked up. Send them to Steve. Send him a text message, and he'll make sure you got everything in the right place so that you get the results you're looking for. Marty is watching. Jerry says, Steve, can you explain the way you measure the front and rear girth? Is this for a cinch?
Yes.
Okay, what I'm going to do is, because I got a video, how to measure cinches mules. I've got a video here that I'm going to put a link in the comments section, because that's a great question, Jerry. It's one that we get often. And how to measure cinches. And this video will show you exactly what you need to do. So great question.
Yeah. By the way, folks, that video, when you go to purchase my cinches, okay, You'll see that video there, how to measure for it. Now, let me add one more thing in here, Dave, about my
Yeah.
cinches. And what we need to do is I want to shoot a little quick video, and I'll send it to you because I want people to see my cinches keep you, get this in your mind, keep you from over tightening the cinches. I have people contact me just a couple times this week, and I always tell you, you got a problem with my tack, call me, I'll help you out. So they were tightening up the cinch, and the cinch ring itself was going past the buffer. Okay, going past the buffer. He said, it shouldn't do that. I said, yeah, it should when you over tighten your cinches. You're over tightening the cinches, and when it goes past that D-ring will rub on the animal. Now, look at them. Most cinches don't have that anyway. But if you do it right with my cinch, you'll keep from over pulling on that mule, over tightening.
Awesome. So let's see. Jim is watching from Western Maryland, 82 degrees, sunny, still recovering in the hospital. Thanks for all your prayers. Absolutely. Thank you so much for letting us know too, Jim. I saw on YouTube that you would say still in the hospital, day 48 and counting, hopefully 1 or 2 weeks left. So our prayers are with you. And you know what? Matter of fact, Jim, send me a message, support@muleranch.com. I want to send you something to hopefully make your stay a little bit more bearable. So support@muleranch.com. I'll take care of you there. Steve, we've got 2 things on the docket for you in the next couple months. First and foremost, you're headed to Montana. Tell us about what's happening in Montana.
Oh man, Superior, Montana, folks. Dave, I've already got people signing up for that right now.
Nice.
Participants, already signing up. Hey, folks, Dave here, he knows how to put that information out. You'll see it. Great page on that. This we've never had a clinic in this part of Montana before, Superior, Montana. Ron is a very good friend of mine. Their family is like my family and this sort of thing. But we're going to have a lot of fun here. I'm going to be taking my wagon and harness up there, and he's bought that. I've sold all of my pack equipment, wagon, harness, and stuff because I don't use them anymore, and he will. But anyway, we're going to do a clinic up there. This is roughing it. This is like a cow camp, elk camp. There's no electricity where you're going to be camping. We have corrals. We can also high line. There is a cabin for rent if you want to rent a cabin. There is an outdoor john there, and there's showers, and there's corrals to put your animals in. We got round pens and an arena as well. So we got plenty of ways to train, and you are going to love. You'll see the pictures that Davis put together. Him and his awesome wife put together this site, and it is really good. So you need to be there. This is going to be take care of yourself. We're not cooking for you. We're not wiping your nose. This is going to be a good camp, but you're going to have to maintain on your own. Now, can we put together a pot blessing? Yeah. Notice I didn't say potluck. If you ever studied the pagan god Moloch, they would say good luck, and they would take their babies so that they would stay more fertile. And that god was a metal god, was glowing red, and they would stick those babies to that, and everybody would say good luck. So I don't say that. There you are, folks. There's some things that you don't want to hear, but that's what they used to do. And so I don't use luck. I use pot blessings or blessings. So go back to this. We can get together and have pot blessing and share that a meal, or you can eat by yourself or whatever. But town is 20 miles away. And so it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay. Now, the other thing.
Yep. Other thing.
Dave just put this up today. This is the American Mule Show in Shelbyville, Tennessee. It's also American Mule and Bluegrass. And you probably got a deal you can put up there, Dave, where everybody can see it. But my very good friend there in Shelbyville, he is putting this show on for the veterans. You hear that? Every dime that he earns in this is going to veterans organizations to help the veterans who need help. And you folks know it's like I do. Those folks served us and served our country. And this man is giving back by putting on this mule and donkey show and this American Bluegrass. And go there and look at that website. Let's support him. Send donations as well. Okay, whatever. I'm going to be there. And I am donating another saddle this year. Okay, so I donated a saddle for all around, and I'm going to be there. And yes, I'm giving my time too. This is for the veterans, folks. These are people that have served you, and you need to go there and see it. So there we are, Dave.
Steve, the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival looks pretty dang cool.
Yes.
I was looking at the list of the events, so they've put there's actually a lot of information on their website. I put a link in the comments section. And matter of fact, we've got it on Steve's website. I'm just giving you all the direct link because you get tickets through their website here. But it says 2 to 3 day wagon train ride with fish fry, mule shows and competitions, mule and draft horse pulling, craft shows, food trucks, wagon masters show of wagons, chuck wagon cooking dinners, cast iron cooking competition, and tasting. I'd be there for the tasting. Educational area for children about mules and bluegrass, mule churning, ice cream and petting zoo, pumpkin patch area, cowboy demonstrations, roping activity, and branding of wood, nightly bluegrass concerts inside Calsonic, which that's where it's being hosted, clogging and square dancing, outdoor stage for concerts, and picking during the day. Entertainers and much more info is on the way. There's a raffle that's going to be happening. It's going to be broadcast live over local radio, WLIJ. They got a few pictures from past years. And yes, Freedom Sings USA mission is to help veterans, military personnel, and their families throughout the country reach emotional balance by telling their story through the creative process of songwriting. And that's who the benefits are there. So y'all check out the link in the comment section there. It is the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as soon as we have more information on when Steve will be and where, we'll get that on the website as well. Steve, anything else you want to say before we're all done?
Well, just another touch on this. I'm going to be doing some little seminars at different times, but I'm going to be available all the time. You want to come up and talk to me? You want to ask questions and this sort of thing? I will be available there. I will be available, and I want to make sure that I touch all of you for sure. But folks, I can't emphasize enough. Even if you can't be there, send a donation. All right? Send a donation. Even if you can't be there, send a donation. Last year, he put on a big effort and really tried hard to help people, and you all need to put forth the effort. I will be there. I'm looking forward to seeing you all there. And as you know, I'm doing less and less of this traveling, but things like this here, where I can help people who served our country, I want to be there.
You know, they're going to have a World War II veteran. I'm trying to find him right here. Let's see. They've got, where was it? I had it up here, and now I cannot find it. He's 103 years old.
Oh, wow. Wow. I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Here we go. Please come and celebrate the life of a special mule skinner. 104-year-old World War II veteran J.B. Stubblefield is going to be there. So
wow,
very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Hey, by the way, Dave.
Yeah.
You remember when I was with the Best of America by horseback and we did that TV shows and stuff?
Yeah.
I have some pictures, and I'll try to remember them next time. But I got a picture of me sitting on a mule, and I will autograph for anybody that buys things over the next, however, I think I may have 100 pictures. But if you'll put a note in there, Steve, I'm buying this come along rope or whatever, I want a picture of your autograph picture, I will do that and send it to you with your products.
How about that, folks? Well, that's a good way to end today's show. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us. We hope to see you in Superior, Montana, at the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival. It's Shelbyville, Tennessee. So Montana or Tennessee, that's your opportunity to get your fill of Steve Edwards. And if you didn't get enough at one, you just go to the other. It's going to be a lot of fun. Everything we've talked about today, you can find at muleranch.com. All of the products, all of the free videos, articles, and resources are available at muleranch.com. Go there, get the information you need, arm yourself with information so that when you go out and you begin working with that animal, they don't stand a chance. You step in there, you're the herd leader, and they know something's up, and they're ready to bow down to that leadership. And by bow down, I mean literally putting that head on the vertical, framing themselves up. You're going to love it. Steve, anything else you want to say?
No, buddy, I don't. I appreciate you a whole bunch. People always say they love that young guy with that funny hairdo, you know.
Young guy. I turned 40 in 11 days.
40 in 11 days.
40 years old. I heard that life just gets better the older you get. So I'm hoping that rings true for me.
I'm on that one.
Yep, there we go. All right. Thank you, everyone. Take care.